As you know, this is our church calendar. And this is where we begin our church year. This is the road to Bethlehem, which we call Advent. And it leads to Christmas, to the birth of Christ. And then these are our green growing times until we come to here. And this is the beginning of Lent, which is our road to Jerusalem. This is our road to Jerusalem. And this today is our 4th week of Lent on our road to Easter. Today I'm going to tell you the stories of the faces of Easter. This is the first face of Easter. This is the baby Jesus. And this is the Mother Mary. God chose Mary to be the mother of the baby Jesus. And the Word was born as a wordless child. And when the baby Jesus looked up into the Mother Mary's face, he could already see the cross. And when he looked up into the Father Joseph's face, he could already see the cross. Now Mary and Joseph held the baby Jesus. They kept the baby Jesus warm, and they loved the baby Jesus. And the baby Jesus grew. And that's our first face of Easter. And the baby Jesus grew to be a boy. And when he was about 12, when he was about 12, he went to Jerusalem with his mom and dad, with all of his friends, and with most of the people from Nazareth that he knew. And they went there to celebrate a holy day. And they stayed for a couple of days, and then they left. And about, a little way on the road, both Mary and Joseph realized that Jesus was not with them. They thought he had been playing, but they couldn't find him anywhere. So of course they turned around and they went back to Jerusalem. And they went through the alleyways, and they went through the streets, and they went where they had gotten their food, and they went where they had stayed, and they could not find him anywhere. And finally they went to the temple. And when they got to the temple, there was Jesus. And he was surrounded by rabbis, by priests. And he was talking to the priests, and the priests were listening to him because he really knew a lot. And he was listening to the priests because he wanted to learn more. And of course, Joseph and Mary asked him the question that parents always ask their children: why did you do that? And Jesus looked at them and said, didn't you know that I would be in my Father's house? And they thought, Joseph lives in Nazareth. That's where his carpenter shop is. And they did not understand, but they remembered it. And this is the second face of Easter, the face of Jesus at 12. And Jesus grew to be a man. And when he was about 30, he went to the River Jordan. And at the River Jordan, he saw John, who we always called John the Baptist. John the Baptist was a bit of a wild man. If you could see his hair here, it was really wild. And John was Jesus' cousin. And Jesus waded into the River Jordan to see John. And when he came to him, he said, baptize me. And John said, well, he looked at him finally, and he realized who he was. And he said, No, you are the Messiah. You should baptize me. And Jesus said, no, you came to prepare the way. And so you need to baptize me. And John took Jesus and he put him down into the chaos and the darkness of the River Jordan. And when Jesus came back out, there was light and he could see. And some people said that they saw a dove fly down close to Jesus. And other people said they heard a voice from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." And after Jesus was baptized, he went across the River Jordan. And this is the face of the man Jesus who was baptized. And when Jesus went across the River Jordan into the wilderness, we all know that the wilderness is dry. It doesn't have much water or much food. And he stayed there for 40 days and 40 nights. And then all of a sudden, he heard a voice that said, "Do you see that stone over there? Why don't you change that stone into bread?" And Jesus said, "No, humankind cannot live by bread alone." And then it seemed like Jesus was all of a sudden whisked up to the top of the temple. And he looked down, and the voice said to him, "Why don't you jump off and see if God will send his angels before you hit the stones below?" And Jesus said, "No, we are not to test God." And then it seemed like Jesus was way up on top of a high mountain, and he looked out over, and you could see all the worlds. And the voice said to him, "If you will kneel down before me and worship me, I will make you king over all these worlds that you can see." And Jesus said, "No, I am a king, but I am not that kind of king." And this is the face of Jesus in the wilderness, in the desert. Now I wonder if there's things in this room that make you think about these different faces of Easter. I'm going to go find things that make me think of these faces. This baby in the manger makes me think of the baby Jesus. And the temple where Jesus talked to the priests makes me think of the boy Jesus. And the dove makes me think of Jesus at his baptism. And the stone makes me think of Jesus in the wilderness. Now I wonder if you can go into your house and look and see if there's anything that makes you think of all the different faces of Jesus. I bet if you ask, your parents will help you. Thanks for listening to the Faces of Easter.
Carry the light as I go. Carry the light as you go. Carry the light as we go. Fill the world with gladness. Carry the light as I go. Carry the light as you go. Carry the light as we go. Fill the world with joy. May the light of Christ within